Hey Facebook, how are you tonight? I'm really excited actually. I've got a glass of wine and I'm not a wine drinker, but my husband, usually if I get wine I get Prosecco or champagne. I like bubbles, and I found this. I actually got this at Grimaldi's restaurant. It's like a pizza fire bake place, and it was so good, and I found it at World Market. They have the same thing. It is a sweet red wine, which I don't usually drink red wines, but it has bubbles, so I just had to get some because it was so good. Anyway, that is not what this live stream is about, but I just had to check it and taste it and thanks, and see if it was as good as the stuff at the restaurant, and it is. So yum. But I wanted to share with you a topic that I have been meandering about. I got an email, and so the title, yeah, that's it, the title. I've only had one sip of wine, I promise. The title for this live stream is No 0 Days, and that is a concept that I did not create, but I think it is amazing, especially for us in the world of spiritual growth and alchemy and any kind of spiritual practice that you might do. No 0 Days is something that Benny Lewis created, and I went to go back because I thought I saved the email that he sent out, but I can't find it, so I'm going to twist it around anyway because I'm using it for something totally different. But if you're not familiar with Benny Lewis, hey, and he is a foreign language. He's a polyglot, which means he speaks lots of languages, which is something that I definitely aspire to be. I speak English is the only thing I speak fluently, and I have like bits and pieces of other languages, but he teaches some really amazing, he has got some great content. So if you're interested at all in language, like, this is totally off the topic of my page, but if you're interested in learning languages, go check him out. Benny Lewis. I forget what his website is. I think it's Fluent. Okay, I'm not going to try to guess because I'll forget. But he sent out an email, and it was about No 0 Days. So one of his concepts is when you're learning language, you're going to put it in, you're going to stack it in as much as you possibly can during the day. You're not going to just like do one program. You might do Duolingo, and you'll do like Babbel, and you'll do, you'll listen to audios or podcasts in that language. You're going to listen to it like from morning to night. You're going to stack in little bits of 10 to 15 minute things, which is something that I like to do with the spiritual practice. Is why my website is called Daily Alchemy, because I believe that the way we grow spiritually is to put our spiritual practice into our normal day-to-day. Because when you try to separate it out, it doesn't get done. Because, you know, it's just life. You have so much going on. But if you can be saying mantras while you're in the shower, or, you know, like doing EFT while you're waiting for your coffee to brew, or, I don't know, I sleep with crystals. That doesn't even, crystals under your pillow, that work. What, you know, if you can fit it in. I put like affirmation stickers on my bathroom mirror. In fact, I have a whole blog on like how to fit your spirituality into the time in the bathroom, because we do it every day, right? We shower, we brush our teeth, we do our hair, some of us do makeup, whatever. And if you're adding spirituality into that time, then it's making better use of it. But going back to the concept of No 0 Days, he sent out an email and he said, you know, don't have a day where you do nothing for your language learning, because that's what he teaches. So if, you know, he's like, if you're getting ready to go to bed and you haven't done anything at all that day, do like 3 minutes of something, because 1 0 day leads to another 0 day, leads to another 0 day, leads to another 0 day, and the next thing you know, you're not learning a language anymore. You're done. That's like kind of how it happens, right? Because we all have things that we do when we want to learn, and let's just be honest and be real. 95% of us or more probably give up on things that we want to learn and do before we do them. And so that's the concept of no 0 days. It's you have to go ahead and commit that you're going to do something every day. And you know, I have a thing called one core practice, because I do believe in stacking things throughout the day and making them part of your routine. But I also ask people to just commit to one thing that they do every day. Be it 5 minutes of meditation, be it saying affirmations, be it doing EFT. The flies are coming, they like my sweet red wine. But one core practice. And while it's great to have more than one, you definitely want to have that one thing and not go to 0 days. Because when you go to 0 days, every day that's a 0 day brings you further and further away from your goal. Be your goal learning a language, or be your goal spiritual growth or transformation. They just don't happen unless you make that commitment, unless you like really throw yourself all in and say that no matter what happens, I'm not going to have a 0 day. I'm committing to at least one thing. And usually, you know, it's kind of like you go to the gym. Sometimes I go to the gym. Okay, I skipped out on the gym tonight, but I just was really tired. I took a nap. But if you go to the gym, sometimes I go and I don't want to go, and I get on the treadmill and I say, I'm just going to walk for 5 minutes. And then the next thing you know, like a half an hour has passed. So that's the reason why you don't want any 0 days. You want to have at least one core practice that you do when you're making something part of your life. And Benny Lewis teaches it in language. I teaches it in spiritual growth and transformation and alchemy. Because the thing with it in spiritual growth is, I have had this happen in my own life, where if you actually drop that ball and you have 0 days, like, I don't know if this happens in other areas, but in spiritual growth, to me, it feels like you can almost like go into the negatives. Like, you know, you can have a 0 day, and on this side you have positive days where you're doing one or more things in your spiritual practice. But then sometimes we get in a twirl and a twist, and we start feeding ourselves negative affirmations or doing things that we know aren't good for our soul. And then like we're just like on a worse path than 0 days. And I feel like just committing to one core practice and saying, I'm not going to have a 0 day. Every day I'm going to get up and I'm going to do this one thing. Whatever one thing it is that works for you. For me, the one thing has always been meditation and Reiki. Oh no, my battery's low. But I also journal every day. I also do EFT a lot. I also say affirmations in the shower. I do a lot of things. But if I'm having a busy day and a low day, or, you know, I mean, we all get, you know, life is life, and sometimes things aren't easy. But I always do that meditation before I get going on my day for just a brief minute. Even if I'm like upset or worried about something, I won't necessarily do a meditation, but I'll do self-Reiki. And if you don't know what Reiki is, it's just an energy healing technique, healing touch technique. And so I can give it to myself, and that shifts my energy going forward in the day. But I just encourage you to have something, anything, whatever that thing is that helps you. Because honestly, it's also not about ticking boxes. Like even with Benny Lewis, like it's not about ticking boxes for him when he's teaching people to like really load up on languages. It's about the outcome of actually using that language now, what you have. And that's the same in spirituality. I mean, if you meditate and then you walk off and you totally disconnect from what you just did, then you just ticked a box. You just wasted your time. I mean, I don't think it's ever a waste, but you didn't get, if you don't do it for the energy shift, and you just do it to say that you did it, oops, I'm sorry, I kicked the table, then you're not getting the most out of it that you can. Although, you know, I'd rather you do it half-heartedly and make it a habit than not to do it at all. Yeah, it's really important just to remember that when you're making change in your life, one little thing every day adds up, you know, because if you do 10 minutes a day, by the end of the week, you've done over an hour, right? If you do 10 minutes a day for 7 days, you've done 70 minutes of work. And that adds up in a shift in your consciousness and who you are. So don't feel like you necessarily have to sit and meditate for an hour. I'm not one who normally does. Sometimes I do if I'm doing something special or if I'm at a group thing. But a lot of times what I do is I meditate until what I call done. And done is when the energy shifts. That's what I do when I do Reiki too, because I can feel when the energy shifts, and I know that it's complete. And with meditation, it's kind of the same way. And sometimes that happens. Sometimes after 5 minutes, I get an idea to write about or come on and live stream about. And so then I know I'm done. I've gotten an inspiration and I go act on the inspiration. And sometimes I meditate for 20, 30 minutes and then I feel complete. And I may have not really gotten an inspiration at that point in time. But that's okay. I know that work is going to shift me at some point in time. And, you know, maybe later that day, maybe not in a way that I know, but I know for me, every time I do the spiritual work, my day goes smoother. It doesn't mean it's always perfect, but it seems like problems are easier to solve. And, yeah, it's just, it's worth it for its own self, but the outcomes are like the added cherry on top. So, yeah, if you're on here and you want to say hi and let me know. Like, do you do a spiritual practice every day? What do you do? Even if you're on the replay, feel free to chime in. I would love to know, like, do you have one core practice, one thing that you make sure you do every day? And how does that work for you? Because everybody I work with, I feel like if they don't go to that 0-day point, they're always making progress, whether it's 3 minutes a day, 5 minutes a day. When you stay the course, you keep making progress. So I'm off. I'm gonna go drink the rest of this wine and check in on my dinner in the oven, and I will see you guys soon.